Closing a service is never easy, but in the current financial climate, it is increasingly difficult to sustain localised specialist service provision that sits outside statutory funded commissioning. And unfortunately, we've been unable to secure further funding to continue this service. However, there is a great deal to feel thankful for. The helpline has taken over 4,850 calls in the last 4 years. And above all, we feel incredibly privileged to have supported so many victims and survivors who have trusted us in their darkest moments. On a personal level, as a chief executive of 14 years, I know how easy it is to dwell on a feeling of failure when we aren't able to continue work in one area. And I am truly sorry to victims for not being able to secure this funding. But it is important to remember that the interactions we have been lucky enough to have with victim survivors over the lifetime of the helpline will remain our inspiration and drive. In my role at Aurora New Dawn, I don't often get the chance to provide direct support to survivors. But because the pandemic was such a resource-intensive situation, it was all hands on deck. And I was lucky enough to work on the helpline myself during that time. When you're in a position of leadership, you can all too often become bogged down in budgets, governance, and the constant chase of inadequate funding. So the conversations I had with women on the helpline shifts reminded me of why I love my job. When you're able to interact with the victim survivors and give them the time and space to just talk, you realise despite the men in their lives trying their utmost to break them, women hold on to their core determination. And far from being the cowering, weak individual in the corner, they are often the funniest, most defiant people I have ever been lucky enough to speak to. Of course, I don't do direct frontline work every day, and the women who work in our services deserve all the praise. I thank each and every woman who has worked on the helpline over the years for the long, unsociable hours they've put in and for their commitment to ending men's violence against women. Our existing services continue to operate, and we promise to take the learning shared with us from victim survivors who use the helpline to keep applying for funding and seek new and innovative areas of provision.